Hi guys, I hope you're having a great week. It's Maria back with Snackin Sundays where I'm going to do another gospel reflection on the Gospels from Mass. So again, if you haven't read them yet, pause this and go read it and then come back and we can get right into it. So this week I'm just going to be going through the Gospel. It's quite a long one. Definitely one of my favorites when Jesus brings Lazarus back from the dead. It's super cool. A lot of great lines, a lot of great things that Jesus says in this Gospel. But there's two things that I want to talk about in particular. One, at the beginning, and this is kind of crazy. So it says, there's a line that says, "This illness does not lead to death. Rather, it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." So this is Jesus talking about Lazarus, who had died. And there's a lot of suffering amongst all these people. But God's glory is coming through it. And this is almost exactly what it said in last week's gospel, where Jesus healed the blind man. And the crazy thing is that we're kind of going through this right now. Like I said last week, where we're suffering, and our world is suffering, and we aren't sure of what God is doing, but we can trust in God's promise that his glory is going to be coming through. So yeah, that's really cool. It's crazy God timing that comes up twice. And we're right in the middle of a huge, like a worldwide suffering, and God's glory is going to come through it. We just have to wait and see. So that's so exciting. But also at the end, where after Jesus heals Lazarus, it says, "So they took the stone away, and Jesus looked upward and said, 'Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me.'" I think that's just a beautiful line. Like, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you would always hear me." It's just reinitiating Jesus. Like, Jesus is saying, like, "I know you always hear me, and I know that you always are listening." And it's the same for us. Like, God is always listening to us and always listening to what we have to say and what we're thinking and how we're feeling. And we just need to thank him for that, you know? So at some point this week, I have a challenge for you. At some point this week, I want you to offer up one thing. You know, maybe it's one person, maybe it's one situation, maybe it's one thing. I don't know. Whatever it is, I want you to offer it up at one point this week and just pray for them. Pray for this situation. Pray for this person. Pray for whatever it is. And pray that God is going to come and his glory is going to come through it. So I'm going to be praying for my grandparents who are at higher of a risk with this virus just because they're older, and I pray for God's protection. And after I offer that up, I'm going to say the line, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you would always hear me." And this is the important part. We want to thank God for hearing us, and we want to kind of say to ourselves that God is hearing us. And that he always hears us. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about the gospel. If you have anything that I didn't mention, DM us, let me know. I want to hear from you guys. And next up, we're going to be talking with Kiara and going into a little bit more of the gospel. Hi, Kiara!
Hi!
Oh, this has taken a long time to actually get this working. So the fact that it's working is the best.
We've probably been sitting here for about an hour trying to
It's true.
work it out.
Anyways, before we get into it, what's the snack that you have?
Water. Maria told me that she has San Pellegrino, so I was like,
that's because I just ate lunch, what time is it? An hour ago. I can't eat at 4:40. Anyways, yeah. Okay. So, how have you been?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. I'm kind of gotten used to the whole quarantine thing.
Good. We only have a few more days. We end on Tuesday, so we're getting there. Okay, let's jump into the questions. So, question number 1, any highs and lows of the week?
Okay, my high was definitely Maria came to see me this week. Tuesday. She came to see me Tuesday, and we talked through a window, downstairs in my house, and she gave me some Reese's peanut butter cups and some scrunchies, which was so nice. And we talked for about an hour through a window, so that was probably my high.
Yeah, nice. And then your low?
My low is I have homework because we both went on a trip and I missed a week of school, you missed a week of school, and this is my hard semester, so I had quite a bit of homework, so I've been doing homework, which is not fun.
And it's break, so that's not fun.
Yeah, exactly. But
Awesome. Next question. So in the gospel, it was talking about a lot about like suffering and God's glory being brought out through suffering. So is there like a time in your life or times in your life where you've been suffering with something or just struggling and God has like brought about glory in the midst of it?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely when I'm like nervous, I'm a very anxious person. So usually before like a test or anything, I always say a little prayer, Hail Mary, glory be, something like that, just to like take away my nerves and to realize that like God's with me and that like this little test won't matter like in the long run. So I always feel like he's there with me.
Yeah. Nice, awesome. I think we all can relate to that and just, being nervous or anxious about something and like praying and, feel God in there. Yeah, and that's awesome because it relates to, I have my notes right here. It relates to the first reading where it says like, I, the Lord, have spoken and will act, and like God's promising that he will act and he will speak to us, and that's like a perfect example. Okay, last question. Do you have any encouragement for us while we endure yet another week of self-isolation?
I definitely say get out for a walk. At least my mom and I have been going for walks every morning, and that's just been really nice. Getting some fresh air, getting some scenery that's not the house. Also do something creative. Try drawing. Try like decorating something. Make people cards if you're bored. I started doing that actually. So yeah, just do something to keep yourself entertained that's not like Netflix and whatever else.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was super fun to talk to you, Kiara. I will probably be talking to you later at some point, but the youth won't see you, so it was nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, and that concludes this episode of Snackin Sundays.
Snackin.
Okay.